Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Give me a little wave if you're here following. Bear with me. Something's not working if you can hear me. Okay. Bear with me. I'm just playing with my phone because it's having a bit of a nightmare. Lovely. Hello, everyone. Not sure what that was about. I'm Katie from Good Evans Kitchen and welcome to our second mini-series that we're doing live on Instagram. This series is to celebrate and highlight National Freelancers Day, which is on June the 16th. And to start off our lovely series, we are going to have a fantastic guest on tonight. She's the fantastic freelance mum, Faye Dicker, and she's going to tell us all about what she does and who she is. And we're going to create some delicious food tonight. But please do wave, join in, let me know if you're cooking along. Tonight we're doing a fantastic crab and asparagus linguine. And throughout the series, throughout June, we're going to be celebrating different women in business to highlight what they do, juggling being a mum, being in business and in freelance, self-employed, and seeing how their journey has been and how they help others, and so we can all raise each other up and build a bigger and better community. That's exactly why I started doing what I do with Good Evans Kitchen, to teach you all how to create delicious food with seasonal produce, but also to build up a community of like-minded people. So let's try and get Faye in. She's joining us right now. Faye, are you there? Let's give it another go. Hi, Faye.
It worked. This is exciting.
It worked. Welcome.
The moment of truth. Yay!
Hello. You look beautiful.
Great. You're very kind. I've literally been in the studio all day today. I wear so many hats, but today I was doing voiceover work, so I had my voiceover hat on. So I've been in the studio all day recording voiceover work. I've been melting slowly, but hopefully I have slightly beautified ready for your cook along tonight, Katie. It's lovely to be invited.
Fantastic. And welcome to everyone who's coming. This is the lovely Faye from Freelance Mum, and I'm going to hand over to Faye for just half a second so she can just fully introduce herself, because she does wear lots of hats. So over to you, Faye.
Thank you, Katie. I was just listening to your introduction. I was thinking, oh, you sound so lovely. This is what I love about you, Katie. You just ooze positivity, and the strength that you give the freelance mum community means so much as well. So hello to anyone who's not met me yet. I'm Faye. I'm a voiceover artist, and I started Freelance Mum when I had my 2 children, and I realised that I'd been a freelancer all my life, but what I hadn't done was juggled motherhood into the mix, and I just couldn't find a community that was out there for fellow freelance mums like me. And I thought if it didn't exist, then I just have to create it. So it started 8 years ago, but then we pivoted last year as a result of lockdown. So we've got a really lovely, strong hub in Bristol. But as a result of pivoting during lockdown, I realised that actually we've got a really fab, scalable model, which is one that Katie is engaged with. And we've got networks now across the country. We've got hubs in Bristol, North Somerset, Southampton, Winchester, and I'll get there in a minute, and South Devon. You can go along to these monthly networks where you get facilitated networking activities, cake if you're lucky enough to belong to one of Hampshire hubs, and you can go along and connect with lots and lots of fellow freelance mums. But then the beauty of it is that we've also got an online weekly coffee morning, which takes place every Wednesday. So we can all come together, both online and offline. And there's a real strength in the fact that you've got that mix, in that if you can't make a network, you can still get your freelance mum fix every week. And the fact that there's so many of us all over the country, I think is a real strength as well. So we've got...
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I really love being part of it. I love connecting with like-minded people, but also women who are mums in business that have all the juggling and balancing that we all do, being freelance mums, self-employed, and raising children, and the balance of it, being able to have a moan, but also being able to have strategy and things to implement to grow your own audience or your own business idea, and to have a virtual hug when it's not going so great. And I find that actually, as Faye says, it wasn't there for her, and she created it, and it is a huge sort of pyramid of Faye being at the top. She's kind of top mummy, and we all filter down, and we all get loved and nurtured in business and parents throughout. So
And we need
Can't
it. We need it,
We
Katie.
do need it. So, cooking. Well, tonight we are, so a little bit about what we're doing tonight. So we are celebrating, obviously, for National Freelancers Day. But before we get cooking, I invited Faye to cook along tonight because she wanted a bit of a reigniting into date night. And I don't know what you guys are like as parents, but definitely here we have a date night every so often. And sometimes you get a bit stuck with what to cook, but also you don't have a huge amount of time. So we are doing something super mega quick that's cooking tonight. So if you do have a free few hours and you want to rustle up a date night, this is your go-to for the moment.
Perfect. I love this, Katie. I love this. Quick and easy and super tasty is perfect.
And it's all in season, so we'll go along all the way. So at the moment, you should have a pan that looks like this, and a pan that looks like that. One's full of water, and one's empty. So we want the pan of water on, because we're going to boil some water, and we're going to make some linguine. I'm not making linguine tonight. We are chatting about business and cooking as we go. We're doing it mega easy. If you do want to make pasta, you can book a workshop, no problem. But we are here to celebrate women in business tonight and do a bit of cooking. So hopefully you should be able to see me on my board here. Have you got everything okay, Faye? Asparagus, chili?
Yeah, got my asparagus. Is it true, Katie? So I heard that it's actually an urban myth that you shouldn't break your asparagus, and actually you're fine to cut it.
Yeah, you're fine to cut it. You don't have to. Sometimes at the end it gets really, really woody. They're really, really old. I haven't got one that's really old. I did. I have. So asparagus comes in white, green, and purple, but I don't have purple. I had some green and white, a little bit, and lots of green. So that's what I'm using tonight. But this one here, look, can you see? I don't know if you can see. It's really wrinkled at the end, where it gets a bit old, and I didn't really look after it very well. So if you snap it, you can just snap off. It gets a bit woody at the end, that's all. But no, you don't. You can just use the end. You can just cut off the tip, the very ends. And you can pretty much use all of, especially in the middle of the season, well, coming to the end of the season now. They're so delicious. You can just eat them raw. They taste delicious. They're super sweet. I eat them in salads all the time. The children eat them all the time. Good with a dip. You don't have to cook them.
I've never tried raw asparagus. It's sweet. It reminds me of peas.
Yeah, it's really pea-like. It's really sweet. They're delicious. Packed full of vitamins. And it's a really, really short season. It's like 23rd, 24th, usually of April until middle of June. And they're gone. You can't really, especially locally. Locally, these are literally up the road picked. So,
wow.
I'm really local. I texted you about chopping an onion, but I actually wrote this recipe without an onion specifically because my son doesn't like, one of my youngest sons doesn't like onions. So I wrote a recipe that would work without onions, but I had half a red onion to use up. So I'm using an onion, but it's not actually technically in this recipe for that reason. Just so you know. So your water should be on to boil, and while that's boiling, I just thought I'd ask you a couple of questions because although I know Faye, I don't know her really well, and I'm so interested in your voiceover artist work. I wondered how you got into it.
Oh,
you don't meet very many voiceover artists.
No, I wish that I could give short answers, Katie, because I'm rubbish at short answers. So my background was in acting. That was the thing that I loved doing when I was a child. And I got my equity card quite young, really enjoyed it, went off, did a degree in theatre at Dartington College of Arts in South Devon. Yeah, loved it. And left Dartington College of Arts kind of not quite knowing what I wanted to do next. Knew I didn't really want to do acting in the way that I thought I would. And went into television production. This is super sogged down. Really enjoyed it.
Has to be on a cooking session. It's like
I really enjoyed television production, but missed my share of the limelight. And eventually, through a very convoluted route, started to work in radio presenting. And I was presenting, the early morning breakfast show at BBC Radio Bristol, which I both sort of loved and loathed. That alarm clock going off at 4 was pretty hardcore, but being on the air was good fun.
Being a parent is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, yes. But I realised that actually I was working in an industry that was, it was quite volatile, and I needed another string to my bow. And I had a couple of friends who had also done this degree in theatre with, who were working as a voiceover artist, and I kind of thought, if they can do it, so can I.
You absolutely have the most amazing voice for voiceover artists. It's such a beautiful listening voice.
You're very kind. So
No, absolutely. It's a brilliant, I think it's fantastic. I couldn't have picked, although I wouldn't have picked the right job, it really does suit you and your character and who you are brilliantly.
The irony is that as a mother, your children never listen to you, do you? Do they?
No,
like,
absolutely not.
People pay good money to listen to me. Listen to me. And there was a time where I was doing all the lots of adverts on television for products that was, you know, suited to my children, who were tots at the time. And they'd come in and say, Mummy, we just heard you on the Leap Reader advert. Can we have one, please? And I'd say no.
That was my next question. I wanted to ask you what your sort of best job voiceovering was. Because that's the first question my children asked when I told them that I was going to be talking to a voiceover artist. Like, oh, what was her best thing or her favourite thing that she did?
One of the best things, I've done lots. One of the best, it's coming to the boil now. One of the best things I got was one of the second jobs I got, and it was a ridiculously good job. And it was for GHDs, the straighten irons. And it was a series of scorned women, and they all had different lines. And I got paid very handsomely to say 4 words. She said, wow. 3 fingers, and my words were, I'm never going back, I'm never going back. And I had to say something, I'm never going back. And I just remember, like, things like that don't fall into your lap. They just never do. No. But that happened to be like the second job. Yeah. Whereas today, I've spent all day recording a lot of stuff about cybersecurity. So corporate work, typically quite dry. Yeah, but I mean, it pays the bills. It's great. It's not sexy, but it, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, and then for a long time I was the voice of Matalan, all the radio adverts for Matalan. Yeah, you know, and I was also the voice for the fleet of GWR trains, turbo. I mean, that was bizarre to go onto a train and hear my voice. You know. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Really, yeah. I find it strange listening to my voice when I do a live or I do a video for something. I find it really strange because how you think you sound and how you do sound is really different. Let us know in the comments if you're listening, if you think the same, if you think you sound different to how you actually sound, because I always find it so interesting and intriguing how we all come across to one another. The way we hear our own voice is through like the inner ear and the outer ear, and I'm not an expert, not by any stretch of the. Oh, it's lovely seeing sticks. It's Victoria. Hello, Victoria. Oh, thanks for staying with us. We're having a good old natter. And Vic is in. Oh, where are you, Vic? Oh, flipping heck, I'll remember in a minute. You're sort of, tell me where you are, Vic, because it's going to really annoy me. But Vic is a fellow cold water swimmer. And in fact, Vic joined Freelance Mum very, very early at the beginning of the journey. And she joined by I had a column in a magazine, and she said, I'm a freelance mum as well. I identify with you. I love how that connection happens, and people reach out to one another, especially women and mums, and they just go, do you know what? I hear you, you sound like me, let's connect and be, you know, do something together. I think it's just one thing that women are really, really good at. Yeah, and it's good. And like you said at the beginning, you know, it is about raising each other up. It is about being a community. It has to be. There is no other way. Oh, that was Vic saying. So we should be on the boil somewhat now, hopefully. Yeah, mine's not. Mine's not. You carry on. So, what am I banging in? I've got, I always use scenario pasta because that's my favourite pasta of linguine, and the children really like it, and it's a really nice drum Italian wheat. It tastes a bit like a snippet of Italy to me. And so, yeah, chuck it in with some salt. I always twist mine so it doesn't stick. That's my trick. So I stick mine in, I don't know if you can see me. There's no way of cooking pasta. I stick mine in like this, and then I twist it so it all fans out. And then it doesn't stick when it goes in. But it's probably just because I've always done it. I have not got the knack. I'm quite glad you didn't see that, because mine was quite comical. Yours was done like a pure pro. Mine just like leant over. I love it. So have you ever cooked with crab before? No, I haven't. So I have got a dressed crab from the freezer because
We tend to buy them, a lot of them, and I've just been to Cornwall. And Cornish crab is so delicious. And it's more in season at the moment because the water's warmer. May and June, quite good for crab. So mine went in the freezer in a what they call sandwich bag. In a sandwich bag, literally like this. That's how I got mine. This is a crab, dish crab. But you can buy it in a packet. You can buy it in the supermarket, just a few 100 grams. It tends to be cheaper these May and June than others. But if you are at the fishmongers and they are on offer, or they freeze really well, so buy them when they're cheaper and freeze them, and then you've always got something in the freezer, and they defrost within an hour or two.
Mine's not quite as exciting. Mine's in a plastic pot. So
mine was in a plastic pot last week, and don't worry. And the week before I didn't even have any, and I had some crab, like hummusy mousse, and I used that instead. So, but just and the ground meat's underneath, so you can use all of it. But it's delicious. It's in season at the moment. It's absolutely packed full of omega-3. Which at the moment is amazing in this house because we are a household of exams with our children, and they need lots of brain food, and the more omega-3 they can get, the better. But also the British standard is that we try and eat 2 portions of fish a week if possible. It's good for your diet, your gut, and all the nutrients are in there. Lots of B2 as well, which is really good for us. So the more fish that we can eat, the better, in my opinion.
Good.
But it's already cooked and everything, so we don't need to do much. While the pasta's cooking, I'm just going to push my pasta down. I'm going to put my pan on with a bit of oil in. About a tablespoon of oil on a medium heat.
How much oil?
About a tablespoon of oil, maybe a tablespoon and a half of oil. I kind of drizzle it round, about a tablespoon of oil. Olive oil, rapeseed oil, anything that you like, avocado oil, coconut oil, it all works perfectly well. I'm going to put my onion in. You might not have an onion, but I cut an onion, so it's going in.
I have an onion. Not red, white.
It works perfectly well with or without it. And equally, it's not technically the recipe, but if you've got a leek to use that, because obviously we work in seasons. If you have tons of leeks, you can add a leek to pretty much anything in place of an onion.
Now I want to put a leek in and I haven't got a leek.
No, I don't have a leek at the moment because it's going in a gratin later this week. But just so you know, don't be afraid to change up a recipe because it's seasonal cooking. You've got tons of leeks, just use a leek instead of an onion. You can change the recipe, it's absolutely fine. But this doesn't take very long. The longest bit is the onion, so they need to sort of be translucent. And while that's cooking, I'm just going to leave it alone. Don't need to stir it. I'm going to chop up. I'm going to finely dice a chilli, and I'm going to peel my garlic.
How many cloves are you going for garlic?
Garlic. I'm going 3 because they're not massive, and it needs a good hefty clump of garlic in. So I'm just peeling my garlic, and then I grate mine in. You can slice it in.
Oh. That's a good idea, grating it.
I do it a lot. It's also a really good job for the children to do. It's a good mindful job. You've got a lot of garlic. I'm doing a lot of curries. I tend to grate it in as well.
What side of the grater do you use?
I have a microblade grater like this.
Okay.
A handheld one. But if I was doing a box grater, grab one.
Yeah.
Here's my box grater. I'd use a smaller one.
Okay.
But birthday, Christmas, Easter, any old excuse you're in the supermarket, grab yourself a microblader. I use it for zesting oranges, fruit, anything, lemons. I use it for ginger. I use it for garlic, and also when I have too many chilies, because we've got loads in the greenhouse, I freeze my chilies so they don't go off, and keep them frozen, and then grate them into your dish.
Oh, that sounds good.
So you don't need to waste anything.
Am I now grating my onions in with garlic and with my onion?
Yeah, I am going to grate them in, or just slice them in, either or, however you like them is fine. I'm just going to slice mine in. So how often do you cook from fresh, Faith? Do you cook from fresh every night, 3 nights a week? What does your cooking look like?
Oh, it's a funny one, isn't it? At a guess, 2-3 nights a week. I really do enjoy cooking, but there's cooking and there's serving up tea. And they're two very different things.
Oh, you see it differently, do you? What do you class as serving up tea?
Well, serving up tea is like, oh, everyone needs to eat. How do we do it? And we need to do the reading, and we've all got clubs, and I don't know what's in the fridge, you know. But sometimes I'm like, oh, yes, I'm going to follow a recipe.
Are you a planner, Faye? Do you plan ahead, or do you just see what's going that week?
I'm a bit of a mashup, to be honest with you, Katie. I know that won't come as a surprise. I will sort of look in the diary. So, for example, this week's a busy week. And I said to Eddie that I'm in the studio all day today. You need to cook tea for the girls tonight. So they had, I mean, this isn't very exciting. They had vegetable Kievs and new potatoes and some veg. And I knew that I was out of the study later and that I would then enjoy cooking. Now, that's not exactly meal planning, is it? But that was something simple that I knew Eddie could chuck together and give the girls, and they were going to get some vegetables. But it's not exactly...
It's nice that you know that you can share the load and that you can still do something nutritious and you know, get the job done when you need to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there has to be an element of realism, doesn't there? You know, what else? I'm good at just, you know, when veg is going over, I'll just bung it into a tomato sauce, and then I don't feel too guilty if I can just chuck that on pasta. And I like doing a recipe. I think sometimes I'll just get a recipe book out and I'll say to the girls, what do you like the look of? And Suki, who's my 8-year-old in particular, loves looking at recipes and just say, oh, mummy, can we try that? And that's
Children do love a recipe and they like being involved in it or creating something themselves. They tend to eat it more when they're part of that process. But obviously, not always is there time, energy, or luster to be able to do that.
Yeah. So
in your garlic and onions, I'm going to chuck in my chilli. I've literally just diced it, so you can see here I've got my seeds in because I know that it's not a particularly hot chili, and I might add a few dried chili flakes if I wanted it extra hot that night. It's just however hot you like it, really. And then into that you can put your asparagus.
Oh, so what shape are asparagus?
I'm chopping mine into, mine are quite long, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm chopping mine into 4. So I've got pieces about this big.
Cool, about 1 inch or so. Cool, got that.
And I've got green and white because they need using.
And then just chucking them in, Katie, is that right?
They, as you said, because you saw earlier, they don't, you know, they can be eaten raw. You need a bit of a bite with it because the crab's quite soft and the linguine's quite soft. So you're trying to sort of balance out your textures as well as your flavours. You don't want it mushy and falling apart.
Oh, Katie, I'm getting hungry now. This looks properly delicious. I was going to add as well, after the Jubilee weekend, I feel as though I'm picnicked out. There's been lots. I was saying to my friend, my fridge looks like, my fridge looks like has been looking like Christmas fridge. You know, you've got lots of little.
We're sorting and emptying, and also we need a. I often on a Sunday, if we've got that, we have like an odds and sods dinner, and I get everything from pudding to starters to salad to main courses, everything and anything. It all gets put out, and they all get everything on the table, and a pick and mix night of using it.
And that
works quite well.
Yeah, that's what that's been like. I even took a photograph of my fridge and sent a photo to my friend. I was like, look, it's like Christmas fridge.
I know. They end up having pavlova for dinner, and with a sausage and a boiled egg and a bit of salad.
Yeah.
So you're just moving it around in the pan. I'm just moving mine. It smells amazing.
It does. Oh, it does smell good.
And we're just gonna steal 1 tablespoon, Faye, of your pasta water.
Oh, okay.
So with the spoon, I'm literally, I've lost her. Get a spoon. I'm getting a spoon. I'm literally just putting it into the pasta water, and I'm putting 1.5 tablespoons of water into it.
Why does it matter that it's the pasta water, or
Pardon?
does the pasta water have a different quality about it over just fresh?
You've added salt to your pasta water, and the starch has been released from your pasta, so it gives a sort of a creaminess rather than just plain water to your sauce. And we're not adding a sauce, we're just going to use the water from the pasta in this dish. I'm not adding any cream or creme fraiche, although you could, absolutely, but it's not a heavy dish, it's a light fragrance dish.
Shall I'll see if I can show you without, it's gone. Oh no.
Or we're on a walk about with Ben.
You lost it. I was trying to show you my pan, but we'll forget that idea because that was.
Show me.
Oh yeah, you've done this before, haven't you? There we go. Can you see?
Yeah, fine, perfect. Absolutely. Just turn the heat down a little bit so it's not cooking too quickly. And check your linguine. Mine's nearly done. So because my pasta's nearly done, I'm just going to add in my crab.
Oh yeah, that's nearly done.
And you just add it directly into the pan.
Right.
Remove my claw. I don't need my claw. And I've got a mixture of white and brown meat.
So it's all this. The crab is going into my pan of asparagus. Yeah.
Yeah, just like mine has. I've just plonked it in on top, and it's on a medium to low heat. You don't want it to burn.
And should I turn my pasta now?
We're going to leave the pasta there. We're not going to strain it at the moment.
Okay.
You should have a lemon. And we're going to squeeze a lemon over the crab, which will again take a bit of sauce. And like that. Lots of yummy lemon. This is a really nice fragrant dish. Great for friends, great for date night. Great with a glass of wine, although it's Monday, isn't it?
It smells of holidays.
It does smell of holidays. There's garlic and lemon and seasonal produce in there, and it all just smells delicious. Okay. In the same grater that I grated my garlic, I'm just going to grate a bit of lemon zest in. Just to keep the light freshness in. And I'm also now going to season it with some salt and pepper. And just season to taste however you like. Obviously we've salted the pasta as well, so you don't need to balance out your saltiness. And now that is it. I'm going to grab my tongs. Bear with me. I'm going to turn my linguine off. Hopefully you can see me, Faye.
I can see you, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to grab my linguine from my pasta, and I'm going to put it into the pan. Okay. And with the water all dripping in, that's going to create a bit more sauce for you.
Ooh, we've got parsley as well, haven't we?
Pardon?
We've got some parsley as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we're just going to add that in a minute.
Oh, I am so hungry now.
So add all your pasta in, and then turn your heat off.
Off, yeah?
Off. And then move all your pasta around. Mine needs loosening a bit. Sometimes it does. I'm just going to add a splash of water from the pasta saucepan, just so it's loosened up a bit.
Now this for me, at the moment, I've got like most of the pasta in the middle and the sort of sauce is...
So it should do it like this. You're sort of moving it around, Faye.
Oh, you're doing it with a spoon. Okay, a smaller spoon. Cool, got it.
And my heat's completely off, and I added a splash more of the water.
Okay. Let's go. Mine, I don't know if I can show you. There's mine.
Oh, yes, lovely. And now all off on the heat, and I'm just going to leave it alone for a sec, and I'm going to grab a big bunch of parsley. I'm growing like crazy in the garden at the moment. So that lovely lemon. Big bunch of parsley, and I'm going to screw it up in my hand. And then I'm just going to cut really finely and closely as you can. It really brings the dish to life. Gives a really nice herby freshness to it, and also parsley is great for digestion, which is why the dogs eat it a lot on the side of the road and stuff, and cows. And honestly, whenever my dog's unwell, he always eats a bit of grass or parsley. It's really good for gut health, gut digestion. Plus we've got the lemon in there and the chilli, so we're doing well with the whole gut health tonight. So in it goes.
Oh, that looks good.
Into the pan.
Right, so
And then I'm going to finish off with another squeeze of lemon. Just because I like it very lemony, zesty, and it goes so well with the crab. And then we're going to plate it up.
Ta-da! So how often do you fresh, Katie?
Every single day.
Oh, you're amazing.
It's just something that I've done for a long time. Every now and then, if I'm really tired and I just haven't got it in me, or health reasons I can't, then the kids will do a takeaway or something.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I post up every week what I cook or what's in season and some recipe ideas, and more often than not, that is what we eat. Yeah. There's a few things that change throughout the week because of work or because of children commitments and things, but on the whole, the children will have this for dinner. This is crab linguine. That's what they have. They may have it without chili. Some of them will have it plain with the bits separated, but that's what will be for dinner.
I saw your post today, Katie, saying we are celebrating turnips in season. I was thinking, I don't think I've ever celebrated a turnip in all my life.
Right, I'm going to turn it. We're going to turn it. Oh.
Hurrah for the turnip.
Hurrah for the turnip. It's earthy, it's mild, it's scary to most people, it's so cheap. It's packed full of delicious nutrients, and it goes really well with roasted with thyme. The French eat them a lot. They sort of coat them in butter like over and over and over and over again, and they're delicious. But
I might rise to the turnip challenge, Katie.
But even if you peel it and then grate it, it's really nice as a coleslaw with carrot and a bit of cabbage and turnip and apple. It's a really nice coleslaw.
Oh, I bet that is. Like a sort
It's really good. I think you should try it, even if you only buy one. Try turnip.
Yeah, promise.
Right, I'm plating up.
Okay.
My crab is cooked.
Okay. I'm going off camera. Oh, I'm so hungry.
Mine is
this looks amazing.
It's hard to do it with one hand, actually, while I'm trying to focus on chatting to you at the same time. So it should look like this. A delicious. It smells. Like literally, I wish you could smell a vision. It smells delicious. It's packed full of. There you go. Absolutely wonderful. So there's one thing that I love to get everybody to do before we eat, and it's something that we do at home. I just encourage my children to do, which is called pause, eat, and reflect.
Aww.
You pause and give yourself a time to appreciate yourself and what you've achieved, which is really, really important. You eat and just enjoy it. Let your senses just completely and utterly take over, and have that time out, not looking at your phone, not looking at emails, not shouting at the dog, not whatever you're doing, and just eat and really enjoy what you've cooked. And then to reflect on actually where your food has come from and all the effort that you've put into it, and how just just have that moment to be mindful and present in what you're doing. So pausing and reflect is a really good sort of value system to introduce to your week when and if you can grab 5 minutes to yourself.
Oh, Katie, that's lovely. I'm going to remember that. That was so lovely. I can see that Melanie Hopkins has just hopped on and said that looks amazing. It does look and smell amazing, Melanie. And if you can get along to the Southampton hub, you'll get to try Good Evans' cake as well, because she's awesome. So
Lemon one this week, so it's lemon and poppy seed with a lemon buttercream icing.
delicious.
So this is your date night dish. It really doesn't take long when I'm obviously not gassing away and chatting about business and wonderful freelance things. It is like literally less than 15 minutes. It's 12 minutes to cook the pasta and less than that to cook the dish. So it's a really simple, quick date, fun night thing to do. And also just a huge shout out to National Freelancers Day on the 16th of June. I know that you're doing a great day on Tuesday the 14th for Tractors and Cream. And we'll put something up on both of our sites so you can join it, or you can follow it, or you can get involved in however
You're awesome, Katie. Thank you so much. And yeah, all freelancers, come and celebrate National Freelancers Day. It's on June the 16th.
Absolutely. Go and find your local freelance mum hub. It's the best place to go and connect and build community within your business.
Lush. Katie Evans, you're lush. Can't wait to give you a squeeze soon. Bye.
See you soon. Enjoy your date.
Bye.
Bye. I will if I can actually hear you.